Okay, my friends, I promised you I would be back for a comic book read, and so I am. So welcome. We are going to be reading a Grant Morrison comic book. I haven't decided exactly what part we are going to be reading today. I need to adjust my mic ever so slightly. Just bear with me as I get this all sorted. I hope you're doing well. Okay, I'm just gonna maybe I'll put this. I don't know why I'm having such issues with this. Give me a second. All right, now I'm not going to touch it. Maybe I'll do it a little closer this way. Yeah, okay, good. Excellent. Okay, I hope you're all well. Welcome to the live stream. I'm your host, Jessica Cruz, she's a female Green Lantern, yes. But we're going to go right into the comic book read, just so I can have this as a replay. And we can revisit it, and I can return this particular book to the library. So I've actually read from this book before. It is, oh my god, everything's falling. Hold on, let me put on the lights first. My Batman lights. You can see it right over here. There. Okay, guys, so welcome to the live stream. I know if you've joined me for the music section of it, I had Hal Jordan at my side, but we are today going to be reading Grant Morrison, The Day. Oh, that's a great reminder to mirror this so you guys can read along with me. Thank you for the follow, A Powder. Thank you for the follow, user 56207730016. Bob, me, Rick, hello everybody. So what we're gonna do, Brandon, I think I saw you in there as well. We're gonna read some Green Lantern. Grant Morrison is the writer of this book, and as you guys know, I like to read comic books that are a little bit, cosmic in nature, right? And so we're going to do a segment of this one, The Day the Stars Fell, so just to keep you up to speed. Authors like Alan Moore and Grant Morrison, I find that they're like wizards, right? They encode certain things in symbology within certain stories. And I think I have read you on this show before a Flash comic book, and Grant Morrison wrote a Flash comic book dealing with this radio dimension. So I haven't decided if I want to read that just as well, but the art in this comic book is quite gorgeous. So I want to kind of show that off as a bit. This is also I don't remember what library book. I ordered this one. I love Green Lantern, right? So look how gorgeous the title cards even look. And Hal Jordan plays a big role in this. I've already read you from this book before, where Hal Jordan goes inside of the ring and he speaks to the consciousness of the ring herself. So when he says like, ring this, ring that, so he goes into that micro universe and they get out. So I've read you guys that story, and then it's kind of interesting how Green Arrow and Green Lantern tend to work together a lot. So I'm going to just go into the next story after he gets out of that dimension of the ring, right? So we'll just, like a dream, go through it. And also too, Grant Morrison, I find when he talks about like fairy stuff, I'm going to start here. It's a really beautiful panel. How about that? What do you guys think? Yeah? Let's just go into it. Welcome to the read. I'm going to read you guys a Green Lantern comic book as Green Lantern Jessica Cruz. And I consider her as like final girl material. And I'll get into why in just a second. Hopefully I can read this with this light. Beyond where the cold gathers in heavy folds and lazy Merowyn voice speaks in muttering verse of 4 a.m. terrors at the end of things, where imagination will finally run out in an empty universe. He left you alone in the dark and ran. You're all alone, and there is no plan. Where finally the last of the ministers, swollen with the meat and marrow of its cannibalized brethren, will turn and see me here, Pennyguic, what is this? Penagoiz, thinks and smiles and puts her trust, as always, in her symbiote, since doomed magnificent Abinsor died, Hal Jordan of Earth. And in the cold and dark you hear those awful murmurs drawing near. They speak in voices chill and bleak. Your time has come, you're not unique. Attend the dying of the rhyme. No verse exists to counter mine. And so it's come, your hour, your then. As if in answer comes a louder voice, a stronger voice, and clearer. A voice that speaks these words. In brightest day, in blackest night, let those who worship, in brightest day, in blackest night, I'm skipping the oath, right? No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light. And you can see her embodiment of the ring. She's like a green fairy, right? It's kind of cool. I love the green fairy mythos too. Apologies there. I know the oath by heart. I just got excited reading it. So I did watch the new Superman movie, you guys, finally. And we had Guy Gardner guest star on this show earlier tonight. And Guy Gardner was played by Nathan Fillion in the movie. And I will say, I liked it. I thought that it was a way of showing kind of like the Green Lanterns. Like, he alludes to the oath and like Hawkgirl kind of teases him about it, but he never speaks it. And Guy Gardner is kind of like that rogue, renegade archetype in the Green Lantern crew, right? So you can kind of see here. I love the art in this as well. Like, Hal Jordan is my favorite Green Lantern, mainly of his story because of his storyline with Parallax. The movie was awful in the sense of I don't think Ryan Reynolds can capture the nuance of what Hal Jordan's character really is. Like, everyone in the Green Lantern Corps, I think they joke with each other, right? They're like smart Alex with each other, but it's because they're dealing with very serious cosmic stuff, right? I talk about, to have a sense of humor. The universe has a wicked sense of humor. And so this idea of having that sense of humor where it makes sense. And I think sometimes, when superhero movies are made, they try to lighten it sometimes. But if it's not a well-placed joke, it can come off a little bit like you're cheapening the storyline of the whole thing. And their inclusion of Guy Gardner in Superman's movie made a lot of sense to me because he was the right Green Lantern to put in that movie. Also, the inclusion of Supergirl at the end with Millie Alcock, because I loved her in House of Dragon, was a really fun, spoiler alert, if you guys didn't know. But they changed some things though, because Krypto's not hers. Krypto's not Supergirl's dog. Krypto's background is actually on Krypton. Jor-El, who's Superman's father, picked up Krypto from like foster care, or like from how much for that doggy in the window, that kind of situation, and adopted Krypto. And remember, on Krypton, if you guys have watched the show, they're like normal folks, right? That's why like Supergirl goes drinking on planets with red suns, because you don't have powers on planets in red suns. So I'm like, yeah, I totally feel you, Supergirl, on that. But they're going to be doing, I think, the storyline Woman of Tomorrow, which is Supergirl's coming of age tale. There are numerous origin stories when it comes to Kara Zor-El. Where is the pink sun? Poke, I know that's the planet you're from, right? And you know what? That's the thing, even about the lantern colors, right? Each color represents a different emotion as part of an energy spectrum. So I don't know if this story deals with, I don't know you for co-hosting. I may do Guy Gardner again. We can have a little talk as Jessica Cruz and whatnot. Oh, and thank you, Flapjack. Thank you for the roses. If there is yet red and yellow suns, well, fun science fact. My understanding of suns and like stars is that, the color of the sun is indicative of the age of the sun. So a red sun would be a very old sun and one that has less power. And like, let's say a white or blue sun would be a sun that would appear after supernova right away. So a young, hot sun. So I believe like Regulus, that's not a good example because Regulus has 2 stars. They're both bluish white. So they would be younger stars. But you know what, Poke? I would say there's probably a pink star sun somewhere, right? I believe it's possible, right? And also too, like in your own universe, all is possible, right? You just have to imagine it. And now I have to find out. Dream about it. I'd say like put like a pink quartz stone underneath your pillow and dream about it. I'm a big fan of putting charms under your pillow and dreaming about things and then writing about it. Okay, you guys, so let's go into the art, and this is quite, oh my goodness. I love this. Look at this panel. Gorgeous. So, biggest thing about Green Lanterns that I love to express is that, you know, if you had a problem, right, like let's say we all have Green Lantern rings. My Green Lantern ring is coming. I ordered a matching Green Lantern rings for me and hubby, and I went through a lot of time trying to figure out which one I wanted, like the design wise, because I was like, oh, do I want to get one that glows in the dark? But those ones look cheesy, so I wanted one that looked awesome. So I hope you guys, like, if you have Green Lantern stuff and you wear them, I would love to do like some fun, because I know there's like a live action thing, but I have my own studio now in Toronto, and so if you're in Toronto, I'm going to be doing some live private events, and so please do stay tuned for all of that. And even if you're not in Toronto, I'll be having a studio where it'll be a lot easier for me to do the you know, the live stuff, so I can put you up on a bigger screen, and Pokey, we can do some stuff with Discord when it comes to that too. So I'm finally getting all my ish together when it comes to that. So let's just jump into it. Space Junkies, written by Grant Morrison, and Liam Sharp is the artist. And it deals with Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, and Green Arrow, who I have a personal little crush on, Oliver Queen. Right? Is that his name? Ollie? Ollie and Dinah, like Black Canary and Green Lantern, are probably one of my favorite couples. They're very cute. Okay, let's go into it. Someone convinced them that selling their souls to be numb... What? Selling their souls to be numb is a good idea. How screwed up is that? This so-called president has a lot to answer for. You said... normal people, Ollie. I distinctly remember the word normal. Yeah, making my own clips. So, like, I think that people don't remember this. Someone in my live was basically saying, like, you know, TikTok's for young people, and you're old. You know how old comic books are? You know how old the story of Green Lantern is? This idea of, like, the lore behind this stuff? It's ancient stories. We're talking about, like, modern mythology. You don't ever outgrow your own personal sacred stories. I think that what we choose to let into our consciousness matters, right? You don't have to accept everything, right? And so I think it's just a matter of, like, you can practice your own discernment. And I was reading up on Gene Keys, so tomorrow I'm going to be doing some stuff as Jean Grey. We're going to talk about Gene Keys, and if you're not familiar with Gene Keys, they are related to astrology. I think everything's related to astrology, but the Gene Keys are basically like this clairvoyant, I forget when, back in the day, basically mapped out, I think it's 64 archetypes, and based on your clear ley lines in your body. And you have, like, look up Gene Keys, put in your birthday, bring it to home, bring it to superhero school tomorrow with Jean, and we're going to talk about the keys of your genes, because I was tripping myself out looking up my own gene keys, and because it was saying to me that I'm here to help with the evolution of humanity and forge a new future. I'm like, oh, really? Is that it? But a big thing that it said that is whenever you're walking your path, you know, like whenever you are ahead of the status quo, or you're breaking new ground or you're doing any of those kinds of things, you're always going to get resistance. Like, that's just the way it is. Like, it's always going to come with a pushback, and you have to be able to stand in your own heart of hearts and be able to do it. It's hot, isn't it? It sure is. I am back in Toronto. And you know what? I was in BC. I was in Vancouver for a week with my little sister. We wanted to do some cosplay, but we literally had no time. It was like amazing how fast 6 days went. I did do a hike from sea to summit near Squamish. That took about 3 hours. We went with my girlfriend, who is not in as good shape as me and my sister. So me and my sis oftentimes have to like tone ourselves down when it comes to doing certain things. But at the same time, though, a hike is a hike. And I think that you don't necessarily need to like treat it as a race. But at the same time, you end up with a type of humbleness around the majesty that is nature, right? And I think... And then you talk about, yeah, George, yes, I remember you. Yes, I was at her house. And so, yes, I am back in Toronto right now. And I'm planning my, I don't want to call it like move, but I am going back to the prairies because I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, as I've told you guys many times before. But I don't plan on fully moving there. I'm trying to establish a studio, or like a new type of studio, because I love live action, you guys. I love musical theater. I love all of those practices. Like, I look at like performance, the idea of like performance as a work of art, and like I love movies, of course, but you know, how beautiful would it be to have some of like your superhero movies like played out live action? And musical theater. I don't know. Like, there's ways of doing it, and also too, I'm working on my own musical and my own stuff as well. Okay, so let's continue on with the read, you guys. I'm happy to be back. My schedule will slowly get a little bit more on point, and I'm just gonna jump into the read with Green Arrow. We'll just, like, Grant Morrison is kind of like a trippy comic book writer anyway, so treat it like you're jumping into the middle of a dream. My dad lived and worked in Winnipeg. I almost froze solid there. I got lost in a snowstorm. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Winnipeg is crazy. The winters are nuts. But you know what? I learned to drive in Winnipeg. So being in downtown Toronto too, like, I hate driving here downtown. Driving in Toronto is like its own thing. Like, me and my sister did a road trip once from Vancouver to Toronto. We like drove through the prairies, drove through like Banff, all that kind of stuff. And like, as soon as you hit like the GTA, it's like a headache. All of a sudden, like, it's just a different way of driving. And like, I always like talk to my cars always, right? It's like, you know, because like you become one with your vehicle when you're driving it. And it's one of those things I've noticed with girlfriends. This is like me and my girlfriend Sandra, like we bond because we both drive a lot, or like love driving. I love like pumping music in the car and like singing along, and like there's just like you and your car, there's a bond to it. It's like, you know, riding a horse, or like this idea of like having an extension of yourself, right? You could almost sleep driving through the prairies 100%, George. You have to almost like you can kind of go nuts, like through Saskatchewan. It's just the most beautiful girls in Canada come from the prairies. George, I have to agree with you. Some of the most beautiful girls I know came from just out in the middle of nowhere. And oh, Flapjack, hey. I also am biased because, of course, I'm from the prairies, but I did also hear that beautiful girls come from London, Ontario. That was the big thing when I was in university. So I used to be a cheerleader for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers back in the day. So I can't cheer for the Argos here. But I did notice when I moved to Toronto from Winnipeg was that no one drives here, right? Like, girls didn't grow up driving because you never needed to. You didn't have to. But, you know, in Winnipeg, you have a DD, you have like someone who has to be like designated driver because you have to drive places, and like you have like block car heaters. And one more story before I continue on with the read. But I used to be a project manager for an agency that did a lot of stuff for pharmaceutical companies. I'm now free of the NDA, so I guess I can kind of talk freely about these things. But I used to work for companies like Merck, Eli Lilly, Novartis, sketchy stuff. But anyways, at this agency, one of the guys I worked for, he's like, my wife is from Winnipeg. I'm like, oh yeah. And like everyone, I feel like most of the people at this agency drove Teslas for some reason. I don't know why. Anyways, electric car. So he says to me, he's like, Rachel, oh my gosh, when I first went to Winnipeg, I was like, everyone here is so like environmentally conscious and or all that kind of stuff. There must be so many electric cars here. I'm like, why do you say that? Because he's like, oh, well, there's so many places to like plug in your car. I'm like, that's for the block heaters and for the car to be plugged in so that your car doesn't freeze in minus 40-degree weather when you park it somewhere overnight. So your car starts the next morning, right? And he's like, yeah, I know that now. But in the minute, like, it was just a funny joke. But we do drive an electric motorcycle, though, and we do notice in the city of Toronto, there's like nowhere to charge, like no outlets to actually charge anywhere. So just something funny I've noticed. And also in BC, they don't have air conditioning there. Like, that's not like a thing that they have in most of their buildings. It's such a weird thing. I was like, what a weird thing across our country when it comes to like cultural things. Block heaters, right? Cool primetime cheerleader. Oh, no. Bombers was, that was a whole section of my life that I'll get into that one time. You know, like when I moved to Toronto, I basically went through a dark night of the soul. I'm sure some of you have gone through this, right? Where like you thought you were something. And of course, like Winnipeg being as small as it was, like when you were going through breakups or any kind of like friend group thing was so much more amplified, right? Because everyone went to the same clubs on Friday night. So if there was like someone you had like beef with or whatever, then you would see them. And you're like, why? No, I wasn't allowed to date football players. My captain, she was very, well, at least at university, I didn't like any of the Bombers. I used to bartend at Earl's, St. Vital, and I had a rule for myself not to date any athletes, just because I knew what they were like. And I was friends with a lot of football players, right? But I made a rule for myself not to actually date any of them. Oh, hello. Juval the man. Am I Kyle Rayner's sister? Oh my goodness. That's a great question. I love Kyle Rayner, and Kyle Rayner draws, right? He's an illustrator as well. So there's something cool about that. He's one of my favorite Green Lanterns too, after Hal Jordan. But no, I am Jessica Cruz. And if you're not familiar with Jessica Cruz, her story, like in comic books, she's typically in there as like a side character, but her story, I'll tell you her story, because her story is kind of related to my own personal story. So Jessica Cruz, if you're not familiar, I call her like final girl material. And if you're not familiar with final girl archetype or character type, it's a horror trope. So when you have like a horror movie like Scream, Sidney Prescott is final girl. In Halloween, Jamie Lee Curtis is like your final girl. Like the girl who, like, typically she's a virgin, whatever. Not always, but she's supposed to be the one who's pure of heart, right? The one that, like, she defeats the killer, or she's the one. Yes, please do look her up. Look up Jessica Cruz. So her origin story goes like this, that she goes on a camping trip. Sounds like a horror movie, right? She goes on a camping trip with some friends of hers. And what ends up happening is that some serial killer guy kills her friends. And she's like the sole survivor of this incident. And she ends up with PTSD, which, like, who wouldn't with your friends, you know, like. And I've been through something kind of similar, although not, of course, in the same dramatic way. Of course, where you, like, lose your friends and you're in the situation where you're fear. So she ends up with a ring of fear called, I'm going to screw this up, you guys, Volthoom. If you guys are familiar with Green Lantern, Jessica Cruz lore, please correct me in the chat. I will go in this replay and make sure that it's correct, however. But she ends up with a ring of fear called something, Volthoom, whatever. Now, this ring of fear, like, this is before she becomes a Green Lantern. And I don't exactly know the storyline of what happens, but it's this idea of she transmutes and she transforms the PTSD, the fear she has, into willpower. And it's because of this transmutation in which she's able to conquer that she becomes worthy of a Green Lantern ring. And I think she becomes like one of the first female Green Lanterns from like Earth to guard this sector. Oh, thanks, George. And so that's her story. I'm trying to source comic books with title cards of the girls that I'm actually cosplaying as, because that's the meta way of us bringing stories to life. I relate a lot to Jessica Cruz and Final Girl archetype stuff. Not to say that I've been involved in something that dramatic, but I have lost friends along the way, right? And when you survive, right? Because let's be real, high school and growing up, not exactly the easiest thing. And I really, really feel for a lot of these kids today who are becoming young adults. And that's why I do this as well, that a lot of these stories from comic books when I was like a nerdy young teenager, they helped me get through a lot of stuff, right? It Oh, thank you guys. And I'll speak their names. So like I lost my friend Cody when I was 16 in a traffic accident in Winnipeg. Cody Bridges. He had a big crush on my bestie friend Rachel. Oh my gosh, just thinking about it. I still love you, Cody. But it was November 2001. And I remember this because Aaliyah had died, and I loved Aaliyah. You know the music singer Aaliyah? She had died, like, I think about a week before I found out about Cody. And Cody died in a traffic accident. And, like, just going back to, like, DDs and all that kind of stuff was that he was on the highway. There's a perimeter highway that goes all the way around Winnipeg. So, like, if you wanted to go from point A to point B, you can kind of just go around the city, right? But, you know, if you're driving a smaller car and there's a bigger truck and that truck is not driving appropriately and you get run off the road, like, you don't really have a chance. So, yeah, my friend Cody died, and I remember I still have the letter that my parents sent to my school to have the Friday off, and I went with my friends, and it was such, you realize how precious life is, and all we really get are, like, our memories and our stories, and so I made, like, a promise with my friends at that moment that, you know, whatever this is, like, how much time we have left, just to, like, live it. You know, we spend too much time being afraid of living, afraid of, like, looking stupid, or like, oh my gosh, what if someone says this? And like, but it's so much worse for you not to do it. It is, right? Like, the universe is banking on you to do what it is that you need to do. That. Oh my gosh, I just got full body tingles saying that. My other friend I lost was Elliot Fitch. And Elliot threw himself off a building on New Year's Eve when he was 18 years old. Went to a public school. Like, I went to elementary school with him, and he got bullied. And so, you know, it's just one of those things. Like, I worked a lot in, like, teen health clinics and, like, just trying to, like, figure this all out. Like, I know what it feels like to be in, like, darkness. And that's why I love Green Lanterns, right? It's like this idea of transmuting it, and also letting you guys know that, like, I do feel called on this earth, that, like, I love hearing stories. Like, you could be the most boring thing to you, but I love listening to it. Many of my friends, I used to remember having, like, long phone conversations for hours, and I would just ask them, like, tell me a story, make it up, and just, like, put us in it, and just go for it, right? And when you let your imagination, like, you give the spark to it, people can take it and run. And I love what people come up with. Yes, in brightest day and in blackest night, let no evil escape my sight, and let all those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lanterns, light. And green is one of those colors too that depending on the tone of it can have different meaning, right? So you can have green with envy, but green is also the forest, right? Green is your heart chakra, but it's also like, you know, it can have that almost like green goo, or like, you know, and sometimes you eat in Tarna and heavy metal, the green is like not a good thing, right? Oh, Flapjack, thank you. Matches my outfit too. Emerald, the emerald tablets, right? There's some stuff in there as well. Fun fact too about Elon Musk. It's funny, I was talking to my sister about this when I was visiting her. Because so me and my sister, I knew my sister was going to be born before she was born. I have this sense about people, and me and her are very, very connected. I can tell when she's in trouble. So with many of my good friends, I can just tell when they're in trouble. And so I have like a little beacon for you. But that has to be built, right? It's not one of those things that like I have with just like regular folk. Also too, I have sometimes when I meet people off the top, I can just tell like this has been many lifetimes, right? Green is also known as a soothing color. It's known to help people with headaches. Oh, very, very fun fact, social debris. But that does bring it back to my book. And we're going to read some Green Lantern as well, because the book I wrote when I was 14 was called The Dragon Warriors Battle for Mount Olympus. And I was very enamored with like the Power Rangers and, you know, like groups of friends coming together to like save the world together, like D&D, like going on missions together. And each of you having your own unique qualities that come together to make a whole. And because you're that unique star in that constellation, we make that tapestry, right? It's like your body, like your heart is not more important than your brain or your liver. Your liver can't act like your heart and vice versa. And one shouldn't be envious of the other. You're all me, right? So I think sometimes we forget, we're too busy looking at others and comparing others that we forget to embrace how beautiful our own unique place is in all of this, right? That all your resonances, when you go like, well, you know, like I like this flavor and not that flavor. For me, like I know about Jessica Cruz. I went and researched Jessica Cruz. Why do that? Why do I care? I can't tell you. I just feel like her story matters to me, and me telling it to you, I don't know why I needed to do that. And so all of that stuff, I welcome you guys to lean into it, the intuitive parts of things. Don't just throw logic away, right? And that's where I think the Green Lantern Corps, they're like the anchor to the rest of the lanterns, right? Because the star sapphires are like love, and the blue lanterns are hope, and you have red lanterns that are rage and all that. And so these different emotions, we're not just one thing, but our will and being aware of the fact that you're feeling anger, that you're feeling rage, that you're feeling, you know, pain, that you're feeling joy, that you're feeling hope, and being able to synthesize all that. And that's why the lanterns also look like the sign of Libra, which is a scale, an idea of having balance and being able to come to a just decision. And this idea of weighing your heart against a feather, no one passes that judgment but you. Like, you only know all the lies that you've told. Only you can stand in the face of everything and be like, you know what? I've done all I could. I've done my best. And your best will be good. Right? So, yes, awareness, but also just awareness of just your gifts. Right? And the Gene Keys tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit about this idea of transmuting a shadow into expressing a gift, because there's a saying in astrology, right? Like your gifts are like fruits on a tree, and if you don't pick those fruits when they're ripe and you share them and you eat them, it will go rotten. It will actually be bad for the tree. So it's important for you to use those gifts, to leverage those gifts, to be aware of them and not let them go to waste, right? And even if they're fermenting, you can still use those gifts. It's never too late, right? I love fermented things. Okay, so let's read some stuff. Correct. Use it or lose it. Yeah, and also just like someone else, don't let someone else use it for you. You know, like how should I put it this way? Like with a book, like a story, I can tell you my version of the story and like Cole's notes, like when you were in university, let's say, or high school and you're studying English and you didn't read the book, so you read the Cole's notes version of it. it's not the same. Just like if you didn't watch the movie and you just watch like clips of the movie, there's a different magic that happens when you're interfacing with the art directly. So just something to keep in mind when it comes to like if you find that there's like a breadcrumb, and even in one of these things, like go down that rabbit hole, and whatever you find, please do let me know. I can't read everything, right? And then you guys so much in these lives have done so much to kind of like give me some more perspective as well. So I'm just gonna jump in. Speaking of the star sapphires, let's just go. So, Universe 0, Ugo, the consciousness planet. 3 hours since we lost contact with our team on Earth 15. I should go warn the Super Watch, Lantern Stewart. We are locked out, strong woman. Oh, strong woman. I don't even know who you are. Earth 15 has some kind of vibratory shield in place. Calling all Green Lanterns. Can you hear us? Jon Stewart's awesome. I do notice Jon Stewart, whenever he deals with problems, he'll like imagine a whole military unit around him, right? So kind of cool. AI just wants a soul so to experience emotions. Oh, we can get into what's a soul too. That's a whole other fun. Larfleeze is amazing. Berserker, I love him too. And Orange gets a bad rap too. Like, it's more than greed. It's what do they call it again? Oh my goodness, the name is escaping me. It'll come back to me. Okay. I did read Blackest Night on this show before. I'll try to see if I can find the replay and put it in my link tree, because Green Lantern lore, there's some good prophecy stuff in there when it comes to the Book of OA, even in our reality. Okay, calling all Green Lanterns, can you hear us? Something tells me this might be the least of our problems. Spectra, you sense it too. That terrible, unstoppable rage on the edge of things, clawing its way from darkness into light. And then on Earth 15, Star Sapphire of Earth 11. I can't believe we've never met. Well, it's complicated. We try to steer clear of Universe 0. From the way you recognized me, I'm guessing that there's a Hal Jordan back home. Too unstable, too volatile. Look, I get it. This is weird. You and my counterpart probably have some insane, damaged relationship in another universe. We've both messed up, and the idea of starting free of baggage with an alternate reality duplicate is horribly appealing. Wow. So we think exactly alike. Stay on topic, Sir Zunderwell. Crazy as a haddock in the Peloton. I spent weeks evading him, but the others weren't so lucky. As for the noble, lonely, cosmic night lot. Or rather, cosmic, I like that idea. The lonely cosmic night act. I'll take that act. I would fall for that. No problem. You've read Donna Quixote, right? Back when La Donna was a Dawn. But sure, you're telling me this is how my big multiversal quest winds up? Suckered by a lonely space castaway with delusions of grandeur? At least I have a plan. Hey Squishy, how's it going? I'm going to send you somewhere to send your book so I can read this live. And maybe I can dress up as a mermaid for it. Okay. I have a better one. Love conquers all. Spoken like a true star sapphire, right? And there's nothing more cruel. Because, of course, like Hal Jordan and Carol, there's a whole thing there. And I think Kyle Rayner dates Carol later. I'm not going to get into that whole love triangle thing just yet. Zundernal, looks like we found our missing Green Lanterns. They're dying in these pods. They do but sleep. They slumber, who must rise again in all creation's hour of greatest need. Knights of the cosmic grail. Sir Zundernal shall lead them onto ultimate battlefield, the living lantern rekindled, raised in my right hand. Until that day, I must keep watch over all my warriors. You shall not disturb their rest, lest I smite thee with my blazing staff. Smite me? What is it with me and the smiters? Who he controls people's minds as well? They're unconscious. They can't help themselves. And then, a choice remains. You can join the sleepers, else be judged knights unworthy of the name. False and impure champions burned to ash by the celestial virtue of the Grail. Bad trip. The sentence is dishonorable. The sentence is dishonorable death. How's that plan of yours coming along? The all you need is love plan. In case you hadn't noticed, we have 3 of the most powerful weapons in the multiverse aimed directly at us. Thoughts? Trust the violet light. He used those machines to relay the distress calls and activate the transmatter doors. One distraction coming up. Hey, Hammer Jordan. I'm reading just in the middle of this. I'm just trying to catch up. It's like a star sapphire from a different universe, Earth 15. They're trying to track down these Green Lanterns that have been recruited and put into these pods by this guy who wants them to, like, fight some cosmic war, right? So, like, I don't know, lonely cosmic knight archetype? I kind of like it. Kind of hot. Okay, Zundernal, stop. You know you don't want to do this. And then Hal says back to her, my plan still exists as a possibility, and my plan will work. First, I punch the Batman guy in the face. Shh. Zundernal, have you forgotten me? What? I know that voice. No, dear God. In gold it cannot be. To Earth 15, calling Green Lanterns. Can you hear us? Yes, yes. In life I was Glyptus. Together we swam with star whales, rested evil gods who were only hurricanes or mountains. I embraced your follies. To see you smile again was my reward. I loved you, you who cowered and muled and watched me die, false knight. Your cup overflows with poison, self-deception. All your life is a lie. My faithful squire, forgive me how I've missed your comedy, your kindness. Just let me hear you laugh again at this old fool's antics. The dead do not laugh. We bring a message from the Green Lanterns of the multiverse. You are under arrest. Oh, thanks, Trippy Trap. Thank you for the Rosa. I'm reading Green Lantern as the Green Lantern. Here to remind you guys of the cosmic knights you all are, right? Aw, love you too. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to make sure I say your name right. Scoot Fender? Contact 123. And I was also talking about how Jessica Cruz is like that final girl archetype. You know, this idea that transmuting all that fear and helping you guys realize that, like, you can do anything if you put your mind and your will to it, right? So this is pretty trippy here, though, this panel right there. They're trying to find, or rather rescue, the Green Lanterns, which have been, like, captured by this, like, Sir Zunderthal guy. He's kind of like a Arthurian cosmic knight, but kind of weird in the head. You do not know? We know your cosmic grail is a broken, hollow shell. I'm sorry. There's nothing to protect, no need for sleeping nights. You abducted these people. You almost killed them for a self-serving fairy tale you conjured out of junk on a desert planet. You cannot understand. Bring him in. And so it was. The green moon on Universe Zero. In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. Hey, Voice of One, welcome. Perfect timing. When all is dark and in despair, the night's made bright by flashlight's glare, all evil things had best beware. By 7 lights, this oath I swear. When it's groovy, when it's grim, we hum the living guru's hymn. When other lanterns lose their shine, we keep the magic lantern lit. Oh, when other lanterns lose their shit, we keep the magic lantern lit, baby. For hearts long lost and full of fright, for those alone in blackest night, accept our ring and join our fight. Love conquers all with violet light. Do you guys think I'll ever find my Stephanie Brown? I know you will. You just saying that means you will. Trust me. Stephanie Brown is a Batgirl, right? And a version of Batgirl that happens after Barbara Gordon. So I feel like there's definitely a version for you, Tim Drake fan, Def. And Trippy Trap, love it. Yes, the Green Lantern light, because they're all they're back together. And that's the beauty of having a team. I love, like, things and missions are so much more fun with a team, right? And then here, with signal green comes darkest night, that superstitious, fearful might. Beware the creature of the night, the weird avenger blazing bright. As a dozen or more voices rang out in chorus, it seemed like a great victory was won. The light of the Green Lantern shone further and more brightly than it had before. But Hal Jordan was troubled. And for good reason. For that was the day, oh my gosh. Oh no! The day Quaman came back. Who the heck is this guy? Hal Jordan has 25 minutes left to live. The countdown has begun. Oh, is that all? Hey, Pokey. Hello. Oh my goodness. It's indeed fortunate I lack the capacity to experience emotions, Lantern True. Otherwise, our current bleak predicament might be cause for some concern. Enough. We are not going to die. As evolution's caprice would have it, the prospect of my own imminent extinction causes me no stress. By the same token, your self-sacrifice, nobility, and courage in my defense leave me equally indifferent. I won't let you die, Tubin. It's not going to happen. Of course not. That's it. Over here. And then so, like, we're back in the midst of things of fighting. So that's where I think I'm going to leave the read for now. Grant Morrison goes on here to finish with a story about the radio universe, right? Which we were introduced to with, oh my goodness, with The Flash. But I will leave this read with this fun variant cover. Because look who's there. Me. Right? So, I do hope that I can find, this is a really cool cover as well, the idea of the sword. Because it's this idea that the lanterns are so unique because, I love this one as well. It's their imagination. So if you had, let's say, a bad guy in front of you, depending on your own consciousness, on your own imagination, you are going to conjure up with your ring what you have as a solution to that problem, right? And whether or not it's like Jon Stewart creating a whole like series of other like military guys to help him, or it's like having a big fist like Guy Gardner and giving the finger to the guy and smacking him across the face, or you're going to make a big fighter jet for yourself, or you're going to create like a big unicorn, or whatever you can imagine, the ring will help accommodate it for you. So it's this idea of maybe practicing that mental capacity, practicing bringing your will into life, right? This idea of aligning all of those things. Hey, Tojo. Yeah. Let's see here. I know with Fourth Wall they will print everything. Yes. And I finally now have enough subscribers to be able to get merch done on Fourth Wall. So Poke, yes, I do have a few drawings that I have ready to put on some merch as well. Ones that won't get me in copyright trouble, because of course this is all DC Universe stuff, right? I'm just playing in their playground. Tojo, hey, nice to see you again. And this is where I'm going to drop off for today. So tomorrow I'll be back on as Jean Grey. I'm actually going to be going into the... Oh, I didn't know it was sublocked. What's sublocked? I have some listening. Oh, okay. I have to organize all. So tomorrow, you guys, I'm going to be in my studio. I got a brand new studio in Kensington Market in Toronto. It's called Studio. And so I'm going to be doing some lives from there. And I'll be not working, like I basically have a desk there once a week. So, because I just needed some space outside of like home where I could do like production stuff, right? Like do things like video editing, storyboarding, a bit more of like all that. And so hopefully once I get my space and stuff set up, I can do some lives from there. And also, if you are located in Toronto, we may be having some private events. Actually, I know we are going to be having some private events at the studio, and probably the first one will be in September. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed. Stay super, all that good stuff. I will have the replay for this one available relatively soon, because Green Lanterns are very special to even my story, because I have the dragons of the energy rainbow, which are related to the chakras. And I know that the lanterns don't necessarily align with the chakras per se. Like green is the heart chakra, right? If this were like real chakras, Green Lanterns would actually be yellow, because that would be solar plexus, and that's more your will. And heart would be the star sapphires, and indigo would maybe be indigo, because compassion. So it doesn't quite line up, but at the end of the day, your own model is your model, and I find it's important for us not to get so caught up in the model and only believing one thing, and realize that you can have resonance with different ways of classifying what a reality is, right? Without getting caught up in one. Because remember, you are multidimensional, you are multi-universal, you are multi-everything, but you are also you. So whatever that looks like, there are no rules other than the ones that you make for yourself, and the cosmic ones that are there just for all of our benefit too, right? Oh, thanks, Rice. Oh, peace with you too. Oh my gosh, yes. And I do have we're doing a big thing on like the summer family tree with like the Junkies and stuff tomorrow as well. So stay tuned for that. And I am launching my book. I was supposed to launch it by the time August 1st hit, but I had that trip with my sister, and I had a lot of like inner child healing, and I had to do some reworking with some of the plot. So I've figured a lot of the time travel stuff out, I think. So I'm hopeful to have everything, like the Dragon Warriors Battle on Mount Olympus, Part 1 and Part 2, available on Amazon as Kindle or paperback by Friday. And then we will have the campaign begin, I'm going to say September, like school, like, you know, back to school, and we can start the campaign then. And so Voice of One, my D&D master, and Pokey, my Discord champion moderator for my Xbox stuff, because I now have Baldur's Gate 3 as well, so I've got to like organize all that kind of stuff. So if you're a gamer, if you're a cosplayer, if you're a superhero in hiding, I see you, baby. And it's time for us to activate, okay? Because remember, it takes true courage for you to be exactly you in the game of life. So make sure you gotta be you, because the universe is counting on you. But no worries, I have your back. Until next time, superhero friends, stay super, and remember, In brightest day, in blackest night, let no evil escape my sight, and let all those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. Till next time, guys.